City Hall. The first meeting in the new City Hall. That sounds so good to say. Thanks again to everybody for participating and for coming. We're off to a great start. First order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to call the girls from the Girl Scout troop up to lead us. Don't go yet. Please. We have a certificate of participation for the girls for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance outside and then here in the past few minutes. It's for raising the flag at the new City Hall, Victoria City Hall, and leading the City Council in the Pledge of Allegiance on February 9th, 2015. Rachel? Sydney?
Just take it, Reagan.
Thank you. I'm going to get this name wrong. Elisa? Alyssa?
Yes.
Kenzie? Oh, there are two left. Sophia? And Reagan. Thank you, girls. Next, let's approve the agenda. Any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes, Mayor.
Somebody make a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
I move we, so moved.
Is there-
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
We've approved the agenda. Public announcements tonight? I see none. Open forum, it's an opportunity for anybody to address the council on items that are not on the agenda. Does anybody wish to speak under the open forum? Seeing none, we'll move to the visitors presentation. We have two visitors presentation. Laura, you want to kick it off?
I'd love to. Actually, I'm going to invite Fire Chief Andrew Hager to make a special presentation this evening.
John, could I have you come up, please? Good evening, Mayor and Council. First of all, congratulations on the building. It's beautiful. A little background on this. In 2014, the fire department put together an awards program, something we had not had in place before. And the intent of this program was to honor not only firefighters for actions that they've done, but also citizens and civilians. So tonight we're here to recognize John Gear, correct? Geary, sorry about that. John's actions last summer on an incident were something that we wanted to recognize him for. So John is employed as a school bus driver and transports children to the Victoria Elementary School. And one of the days last summer when he was working, he had a child on the bus that was choking, and he was alerted to this by some children on the bus. So John immediately pulled the bus over, came to that child's aid, performed the Heimlich maneuver, and was able to clear the obstruction, what the child was choking on. He then radioed into his dispatch center to notify the school that he was coming in with this child and to have a nurse lined up to care for the child from there on. So these are some actions we really thought that should be recognized that John did and kind of went above and beyond for what he was doing. So tonight we would like to present John with the Fire Chief's Commendation Award, and that's performing the Heimlich maneuver on that child on that day. So congratulations, John, and thank you. Thank you very much.
We want our beautiful faces.
We can do that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Next, the VBA Executive Committee members for 2015.
Yes, VBA President Randy Miller will introduce the new executive board.
Definitely a new experience. Congratulations. Mr. Mayor, council members, city manager, and staff, I would just like to introduce you to the 2015 Executive Committee of the VBA. So please come up here. Who's present? Hopefully everybody is here. what I'd like to do is just let themselves introduce themselves, basically. What position and where they're from. Go ahead, Terry.
Terry Hartman with Hartman Communities. I'm the Director of Business Development.
Joe Leeser with Klein Bank. I'm the secretary.
Paul Carlson with Beck's Bar and Grill and member at large.
Marty Christensen, owner of Victoria Rose Floral, best of the Southwest Metro area. Pretty proud of that.
We have Laura Neal, Director of Events, Cornerstone Insurance, who's not here. Brent Romankowski, Director of Membership, Temple Investment. And Tammy Leak, Treasurer, Lazy Loon Brewing Company. And Nola Stiller, Vice President of Cambria Mortgage. We just want to take this opportunity to thank you for the support that the City Council, and in particular staff,
Step forward if you would, Randy. I'd love for the
Okay.
microphone to pick up your comments.
we'd just like to thank the council, city, and in particular the staff for supporting us for 5 years. And we hope we have a continued good working relationship. So that's basically it. Thank you very much.
Randy, thank you guys. I can't wait to the first, Tuesday in June when we have that classic car night again.
June 10th, but we have another important date, which is the Discover Victoria Day on May 16th. So that starts it off with the 100th anniversary.
Well said. Thank
So,
you all for
thank
what you
you.
do.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. All items are approved with one motion unless one of the council members wishes to remove one of the minutes or the 3 items there. Does anybody wish to remove anything from the agenda, the consent agenda? Hearing none, take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approve the consent agenda. We have some donations tonight. Would someone like to read that? Make a motion on the donations.
I move that we approve resolution number 15-06, a resolution accepting the donations as follows. From Frederick McGraw, $250 to the fire department, and Joan Holisek, $25 to the fire department. We accept those in appreciation. Thank you very much.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We approved the aye, we've approved the donations. No public hearing, unfinished business, the 100-year celebration update. Jessica, I guess you're going to do the talking?
I will, Mayor. Thank you. Well, thank you, Mayor and Council. I have a PowerPoint here. We'll get it up more momentarily here.
Jenny's in the back working it out. There it goes.
So, Victoria is 100 years old in 2015 here. In September of 1915, residents of this area decided they wanted to incorporate, so they took a vote, and now we are the wonderful city that you know today. This is our centennial logo. Unveiling it here today, we have a wonderful group of residents who have been helping us kind of plan this event. And just wanted to show off our brand new logo here. But so we have 13 members of an advisory committee, residents, business owners, and staff that are participating in an advisory role. And we've asked them for their input to make sure that we're making a celebration that's really representative of Victoria as a community. So for our centennial, we're looking to really focus on events. We have so many great events that the city currently has in place. We have Discover Victoria Day, the Bike Connect event, we have our classic car shows, the Lions softball tournament, Folks Fest, so many great events. And so what our idea is to actually kind of use those wonderful events as a starting point and imprint the centennial onto them. So they're becoming a centennial summer. So we have a celebration all summer long. And so we're going to kick off our centennial with Discover Victoria Day on May 16th. And going to continue the celebration all summer long with, we have a bike the Bike Connect event in June. We have a Centennial Golf Tournament that Deer Run has graciously offered to host for us. So we have a golf tournament if anyone's interested, July 15th. Let me know if you're interested.
I understand you already have one foursome.
We do already have one foursome already lined up.
Do you know who that is?
I do. The mayor is one of the members, and then we have Mike Norton, Don Urim,
Mike Norton, Don Urim, and David Thune.
And David Thune. Yes.
You're gonna scare away other golfers.
You haven't seen us play.
So for that event, we'll have prizes for the event, but Deer Run has really taken the lead on that one. And since we have that wonderful amenity in our community, we thought it would be a great idea to have a golf tournament. The Lions have their softball tournament that's very well attended, and we thought we'd be able to tie in the Centennial with that as well. The band shell, when that opens, Mary Toon has offered to have that be an event as part of the Centennial celebration as well. So once we know more on the dates for that, we'll keep you posted. Volksfest is our big event, so we will have probably several things both days tying to the Centennial. We have our classic cars, and then we're looking at having one movie in the park and one concert in the park that are dedicated to the Centennial here. And then we're also looking at doing a Centennial baseball game with the Victoria Vics in one of our surrounding communities. So more to that. I will be having more information to come on that, but definitely looking to utilize all of our great events here. Some other things that we'll be doing to tie the events together, we'll be having a history display that outlines our history from 1915 to present, as well as a few things that were here before Victoria was incorporated. We had the post office and the creamery and things, so we'll be displaying our history. We'll be putting together a time capsule and finalizing that. We're going to have some merchandise that we will be looking to sell, as well as looking at the committee was really interested in looking at a commissioned art piece. So we will be exploring that option as well. So that's a kind of brief update on where we are at currently. Do you guys have any questions that I'd be happy to answer for you?
Questions?
Sounds exciting.
We are thrilled. It's going to be a wonderful summer, and we're really excited to showcase it being our 100 years.
You know, it's really, I think, a nice feature here. It's an all-year-long celebration. It's not just one event.
Exactly. We certainly wanted to. We have all these great events, and that way it allowed people, if you can't make it to just one event, to celebrate with us throughout the year. So we'll be very much looking forward to it. So
Thank you, Jessica.
thank you.
Thank you.
Next, the Highway 5 support.
We have Lyndon Robgent, the county engineer from Carver County, is with us here tonight to talk about the resolution for Highway 5 support. The item that was in the packet, if you downloaded it prior to this afternoon, has been replaced by an item that was updated in the packet and placed in front of you this evening. We're going to start off with Randy Maluchnik, the county commissioner.
Well, I think I'll sit down, although that could be a bad indication of how long I'm going to be here. I'm quite honored to be here the first night that you have chambers here in this building. And we're certainly looking forward to our partnership with the library here in the future. I'm coming to you tonight to talk about Highway 5 and how we advocate for that. I'm sitting in.
We don't want anybody hurting themselves.
I couldn't figure out how to use that or how to use it. A good friend of ours and a neighbor of yours, Daryl Sudheimer, I'm sorry. He, longtime resident, his family's longtime residents of Waconia. He owns the American Inn and some other business interests in Waconia, and for about 3 decades now, that's 3 decades, he's been advocating for Highway 5 expansion or improvements, and he's been going to the Capitol here in St. Paul, and he also goes once a year out to Washington, D.C. to talk to our federal folks. So this resolution, if you should adopt it, is what we use, or we carry in our packet. We use a resolution and get resolutions from the local government folks, and the county puts one in there too from Highway 5 regarding that. And we take it to our legislators. We exercise that First Amendment right to petition our elected officials, and sometimes you as elected officials have been exposed to that. So folks have a right to do that, and that's what we do. We have a Thursday. We're at Transportation Alliance. We call it Transportation Day on the Hill. You've probably heard of those, and all of you are welcome to come, and we talk to our legislative delegation and sometimes others who could possibly influence what's going on with our roads and our infrastructure here. So I brought Lyndon along. He's a county engineer extraordinaire, and he can answer any technical questions that you might have. So, Mr. Mayor, any questions?
I'll start off, Randy. This resolution is for Route 5 only. I know there's the county has in the state have a series of priorities, 212 being one.
Right.
This is strictly limited to our support for Highway 5.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, when we divide, just to tell you the inner works, maybe it's more than you've asked about, but when we go to the Hill, we talk about 212. Usually Daryl's the guy that talks about 5 because he has all the background information, but we talk about the roads separately. So when 5 gets their night or their time in the shining light there in the legislator's office. So.
And you're not asking for money from us.
No. Are you surprised or?
Not yet.
Candidly, when you're sitting there, yeah. Always for a worthy cause.
This is one of our better partnerships, Mr. Mayor. It doesn't cost anybody anything but some time and effort, so.
As you said, I think you or Lori said, the history of the city of Victoria supporting this initiative goes way back.
Longer than I care to remember, Mr. Mayor, so it's quite a while. Your predecessor was a hard charger on this. In fact, she became persistent and troubled me sometimes with her persistency for advocating for 5. So she was quite a ramrod on this project during her terms as the mayor of
Yeah, it was a priority of hers for sure.
Absolutely a priority, yeah. In fact, to be honest, it was her initiative, and it's been done before, but it's very unique, is where the local government units actually throw in money in the county, in Waconia and Victoria, and I'm missing somebody, I'm sure, but they put in money to do the study to see what we could do with Highway 5. So that was a unique partnership, but it's thanks to her leadership that got done.
So tonight you're asking for our continued vocal support for making the expansion of Highway 5
Your resounding verbal support, sir.
Questions, comments?
I think you actually have to sign a resolution. Lori,
Yeah.
I don't know how that all works, so.
We have one in front of us.
Okay, super.
Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just maybe a couple, Commissioner Malushnik, on, is the road at capacity, what it's designed for, and, just maybe elaborate more on the need.
I don't like to critique people's questions, but that's a brilliant question. And what I'm going to do is I'll let Lyndon talk about it because I know the answers, but he can talk better about it. So, Lyndon.
Yeah, the question was, is the road at capacity? Generally, a 2-lane highway can accommodate about 15,000 vehicles a day. So that's counting both ways. We're already at over 20,000 on this piece right here. And the further east you go, as you know, the more traffic there is. So it's clearly at capacity, if that's the right word. It's been that way for many years. So the study that you guys helped fund in 2008 with the county, Waconia and MnDOT, looked at the whole corridor all the way actually to Norwood Young America, defined what it should be someday. And obviously that's a huge undertaking. And it looked at what the ultimate road needs to be, as well as what some interim improvements should take place, which have happened. A lot of safety improvements have been put in. Turn lanes at Minnewaska is a classic example. Even the turn lanes at the Dairy Queen area, the bridge replacement in town here. But there was about $38 million worth of interim improvements needed, and I would say about 22 to 23 million has been done. The big issue is still the traffic capacity. There's only, out of the whole segment, there's only been one that's been improved and, well, yet to be improved. That's in the city of Waconia this summer. They're building a project from 284 to Oak Avenue, and they used a bunch of different money to get that funded. It's about a $12 million project. But there's about 120 million in need still, from the west side of Waconia to 41. So it's a huge undertaking, and there's no money in the state highway investment plan until 2040 to do any expansion on Highway 5. So what we like to do is go to the legislature and make sure they're aware that that's the case, and try to stress to them the importance of a road that's already at capacity that needs a continued investment, because it's just going to get more congested, and the more congestion you have, there's more safety issues that will occur into the future. So we can't lose track of what needs to be done, and that's why we're here.
Without expansion, you also have, with the congestion, you have mounting maintenance problems. And at least in my opinion, at some point, expansion is cheaper than just doing maintenance. And I talked to a lot of engineers. Lyndon and I haven't decided where that point is, but at some point, that becomes a unique problem for the taxpayer to decide at what point that is crucial, make a decision on expansion or just maintenance of a road. So, Mr. Mayor, Councilman Pavelko, do we answer them all?
Yeah, I'll ask one more question.
Yeah, please.
So you said 2040 is when we're scheduled to have a 4-lane 5?
No, there's
No.
there's none.
No.
2040 is the latest horizon on their plan right now. Kind of matches the Met Council Thrive and Transportation Policy Plan. So all the long-range plans stop at 2040. So if you look back in 2008, MnDOT did have Highway 5 expansion in their plan, but as things got tougher with money, it's dropped, it's gone. In fact, they don't have any money on any similar type roadways. This is considered an A minor arterial. So it's one step below the freeway, which is a principal arterial. They're focusing 100% of their investment on expansion on the principal arterial system. So roads that are tiered down like this, 41's another example, north of 212, there's no funding for those roadways. So we have to try to find other ways of getting the money. That's where we go to the legislature, we go to DC, whatever we can do to make it a priority for the state. Find a little bit of funding and then put the pressure on them to match it and come up with some of their own money.
Okay, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councilman. I'd like to invite Councilman Member Pavelko, come with us to DC I think you'd be a good one to help us out, Joe. I'd really appreciate that if you would come along. So we need that kind of a guy.
You're volunteering to pick up his cost?
Oh, well.
Southwest Coalition might.
Southwest Coalition. We might figure out a way to do that. We can be creative, maybe. Never know.
Any other questions or comments?
Does this lack of funding for Highway 5 help us seeking funding for some of the other roads that are county and city jurisdiction, like County Road 18 and others? Marsh Lake.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is a state highway, so it's their responsibility, Trunk Highway 5, I mean. So it's not really in our budget. We help out with studies, and 212 is another example where the county's the lead doing the study. So the board has put in county money to keep the study going, but that will only go as far as getting the project ready for construction. We're not going to jump in and start building the roads for the state, because that's an enormous amount of money. So we
No,
put
I understand that. I guess
about
what
18,
I was thinking is that if the state does not have funding for Trunk Highway 5, even with our efforts tonight and others, the only way it seems that we can affect that is to improve the feeders or the bypasses around 5, like County Road 18 and Marsh Lake. Does this help in our justification for funding for those types of improvements?
Sure, it doesn't hurt. I think I misinterpreted the question. I
Yes.
think those roads are in our comp plan. So
Right.
it's just a matter of when, not if, we're going to do those. We did do a study on when we looked at the
18.
extension of 18 a few years ago, and it's starting to come up again. And we found that one helps the other, but both are needed. It's a reality.
Well, as a I guess kind of bring it to home. As a father of a brand-new driver going to Chanhassen High School, County Road 18 would be a lot safer.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
if it was improved.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Crowley, we couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 15-07, a resolution in support of funding for Highway 5.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Persuasive.
Thank
I
you,
don't know.
Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. Thank you. And Victoria City staff, too.
And thank you both for giving up part of your evening to come here. Thank you.
I'm glad to do it anytime.
Next item we have is the strategic plan discussion.
Yeah. I was gonna see if do you have the clicker, Jeff? If Ben will pull up the PDF. We've talked a lot about our efforts to begin our strategic plan for 2015, our planning efforts. And I apologize to the council because I will repeat myself on things you already know, but for the benefit of those that are just joining us in this process or are here tonight, we engaged Brumeyer Fersman, a consulting group that the city has worked with in the past, to help us go through a strategic planning process that would be comprehensive and would include significant resident and business owner feedback. And so we held a citizen or a constituent stakeholder group on January 22nd. We had 21 residents and business owners that gathered at the fire station, gave up 3 to 3.5 hours of their time to really have a thoughtful discussion about what they see as the positive aspects of Victoria, what they want to see the city work on in the future. And we came out with some really great feedback, and we brought that feedback to the city council and staff, who gathered for about 8 hours on Saturday, January 31st. It was a great event to have as our first official event here in this room. And we spent some time going through that resident feedback, looking at the strategic plans that the council has adopted in the past and has been making progress towards. And tonight included in the packet is a draft strategic plan report. I want to make sure everybody knows it's a draft because there are some spelling errors, and I believe at least one council member got a significant promotion.
There was a coup and I wasn't even aware of it.
Yeah, so
Thank you for the pay raise.
you know, the nature of the turnaround, we met for 8 hours on Saturday. We left here at about 4:30, and we asked Richard and Irina to get this to us in about 3 days so that we could have it in the packet for the council and staff to look at. So we'll cut everybody some slack. So tonight what we're looking for, I just want to have a first look at this strategic plan report. Originally we had contemplated perhaps that we might be ready to get into adoption of this plan. What I'd like to do tonight is just go through at a high level and give everybody a little bit more time to review what's in here to make those corrections. We've sent this out to the focus group that joined us on the 22nd, asked if they have any comments. Staff is going to get together. If you look in the plan, we have a little bit of homework to put together some of the specific implementation worksheets so that you have a better idea of what we're going to do to dive into the details of these items. And then we also have a number of assignments, I'll say, that we've been brainstorming for a long time. What kind of things do we need to work on? And we've been putting some tasks on the back burner because we've been a little bit busy building 2 buildings and still running the things that came up. And so we, as staff, we need to do a little bit more work on this plan, and we need to also give you kind of a companion document of what are those other items that we've been saying we're gonna look into when we get past this point today, this milestone of moving into this building. And you've got it on your screen in front of you. This is kind of new for all of us. This is great. So this is the draft document. As I mentioned, it's available on our website as part of the packet. And there are, I think I'll just take a quick moment. I won't read it to you, but I'll walk you through what we did here. This is the technology of participation facilitation model that we used both at the focus group and here on during the council workshop. And it allows everybody to have a chance to comment and for us to see what are the areas that rise to the top? What are things that we all agree on? This is a summary of our strategic plan that we have been operating off for a number of years. We looked at these goals or these the vision and the mission sort of briefly at a high level. Felt like for the most part there may be some wordsmithing that we want to do. There may be some spelling corrections we want to make, but for the most part we're committed to the ideals that are expressed here, and we want to continue working forward with these. And then we got into looking at each of those specific accomplishments and setbacks. It's really important when you do strategic planning that you don't just charge ahead with making your next to-do list and setting your next ideals, but really think about the hard work that you've done and what's been accomplished. And I think I can speak for everyone when I say that when we spent the time that morning making the list of everything that's been accomplished towards the goals that were outlined, it was very impressive, and it was a good feeling to think about how much has changed and how much has been accomplished. So you can take a look at those. You'll see that the highlighted items are those that when we looked at the list as a whole, we said those are the items that really stand out for most of us as big accomplishments. And then we got into looking at the big ideals that the focus group had gotten into and the ideas that the council really wanted to work on. And we set up some strategic directions, and you'll see that there's 4 categories of those: strengthen and grow partnerships, developing Victoria, engaging the community, and embracing best practices. And there are a number of items that fit into each of those 4 categories. Some of those were carried forward as things that the focus group originally initiated that were important to the council, and some were brainstormed that day. And then we get to how will we know if the things we're working on are being accomplished? What do we see as our 2-year success? And then working backwards, when we look back at our first year, what are some milestones that will tell us that we're on track with where we wanted to be? And so when we talk about this on the 23rd, this will be the specifics that we'll get into. Do each of these items reflect what we really want to work on over the next year? And do we agree with what those first milestones and 2-year successes might look like after giving it some thought and reflection? And there's a 12-month timetable. We went through a process at the end of our day where we took time. We covered that wall with a giant calendar, and we kind of said, how long are these projects going to take? Do we have a deadline in mind? And we mapped it out so that we didn't say, well, we want to do it all right now. We were really thoughtful about how we might actually work on all of these things. And if you get to page 20, this is what I was talking about with an implementation worksheet. Richard has provided us with a template that we can use to make more specific plans for tackling some of these goals and keeping the plan on track. And I want to talk about this a little bit. What we're looking at in terms of doing just that, keeping the plan on track. What Richard is recommending to us is that we've now developed the plan. We'll adopt that plan most likely at our next meeting. And how are we going to, as council and staff, keep in communication on where we're at with that plan? And so the suggestion is that we would conduct 4 quarterly meetings where we would spend somewhere between 2 and 3 hours discussing, getting updates on where we are, adjusting our timelines if we need to, revisiting not only the things in here, but the things in the work plan. And so the suggestion would be to meet on an off-council Monday. We were together the 2nd and 4th Mondays. And so quarterly, would we want to add in a 1st or 3rd Monday where we meet to talk specifically about our progress on the strategic plan? And so if that's something that the council is ready to give us direction on this evening, we could identify some dates and bring those back to you on the 23rd. Otherwise, there's no rush. We could identify those at the next meeting, and you could give us some feedback over the next few weeks.
Questions, comments? Tonight, excuse me, you're looking not to approve the strategic plan. You're looking for direction or approval of the strategic plan report, of this report.
Tonight, I'm not looking for approval of anything. Initially, we had thought that we might be ready for that step. But tonight, I'm just looking for perhaps comments on, I'm publicly asking for comments that you might like to see us incorporate before we adopt a strategic plan. And I want to give everybody a chance to take a look at it. And I'm looking for direction that at the meeting on the 23rd, we'll dive more deeply into each of the things that we talked about wanting to accomplish, identified as our goals, get into the timeline a little bit, and ask you to adopt this plan at our meeting on the 23rd.
So tonight, the mission is to get us interested, to continue the interest and to plow into it over the next couple of weeks and come back on the 23rd and be prepared to discuss this and additional items we want to add or we feel have been misplaced.
Absolutely.
Laura, I think I would also like to suggest that we do adopt the idea of quarterly meetings. And if the off Mondays are the way to do it, I'm fine with that.
I think having invested 8 hours on a Saturday, it'd be silly to not follow through and do the necessary work. And this can't be done at a regular meeting. It just doesn't lend itself, I don't think. Joe, Tom, comments?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One thing that I was thinking about when I was reviewing this is how the citywide survey that we're doing, how that's going to fit into this. I just want to make sure that we're not doing that just to do it and, so it looks good. But I want to make sure that whatever we learn from that is incorporated in this.
Absolutely. So the survey results you'll be seeing at your first council meeting in May. And when we decided to engage the National Citizen Survey to complete that citizen survey, we're doing a random mail survey of 1,200 households. We didn't want to push off the strategic planning effort until those results came back. But you all also collectively expressed that those results would be very important to any work that we do going forward. And so I see that working out, that as we bring back each of the projects or goals that you identified, what that feedback was will be a significant component of anything that we talk about. That'll be a lead for the discussion. And I want to make up a fictitious example, but I'm not coming up with one that we haven't talked about. Let's say we wanted to build a sledding facility. So if that had been one of our goals, when we bring that back to you, we would start off by saying, we asked about this in the citizen survey, we asked about it at the focus group, it's been on our strategic plan, and here is all of the resident feedback that we've gotten. And so you'll have that to set the tone for any discussion that we have about specifics.
I think once again, that's the importance of meeting quarterly, as well as to review those and evolve the plan as appropriate based on feedback and other things that we get along the way, including I'm not going to remember it properly, Land
Institute.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. The Land Institute, ULI.
Yes.
So I think we've got lots of opportunities to continue to evolve this smartly. But again, I think the regular conversation will help ensure that we do that.
I have a few more questions, Mr. Mayor. So can we put something on the website then, since we're talking about our 2-year goals here, that, easily lists out, here's the council's, top goals and, make it simple so we don't have to go through this.
Sort of an executive summary.
Yeah, an executive summary of some sort, just so that everyone's kind of aware of, what the council and, the group of 22 people came up with of what we thought, we should do, just so that everybody has a chance to review it, and then, before next meeting or the meeting, whenever,
Sure.
they've got a chance to come in and say, yeah, we want to do this, or, no, you guys we shouldn't do that.
Sure.
So just make sure that everybody's got some time and an opportunity to weigh in on how we're going to operate for the next 2 years.
Does it get printed with the qualifier that it's not the final list? There's something else could materialize in the short run and we would add to it, or something could be removed. It's a malleable document.
And that that kind of brings me to my next point then is, so, you know, at the retreat that we had, which is awesome and by far the best, you know, retreat that I've been at, you know, for strategic, and great. We should do that every year. But we really didn't have a lot of time to really debate the issues. And, you know, it was more, you know, here's the kind of the things we want to do and work on, but, you know, it wasn't like, no, we shouldn't do that. Let's take these 5 things and throw those 2 out. Or when do we get to do that part?
I think you would do a little bit of that at our next meeting, but a lot of that will happen as we get into these individual projects and goals. So what identifying it in the strategic plan says is that you would like us to spend some staff time doing research, looking into it. But certainly there are a lot of issues that have to be fleshed out. So this is sort of that first thumbs up to say, look into this, and then the meat of the discussion about whether this is really something that we should pursue, I anticipate happening as the items are brought back to you.
Okay. And then we'll also get some honest opinions from staff of whether or not you guys feel that you can accomplish everything that we think you guys should.
Absolutely. We'll be happy to provide that. You know, and you guys were great when we were here at the retreat. When we put everything up on that calendar, I think we all realized that they're ambitious goals and that we still have other items that we want to work on. We have development. We have things that we have to handle as they come up. And so I think there was a great recognition that we're doing our best to identify what we want to do, but that we'll all be patient with each other and get these things accomplished as fast as we can.
Anything else? You comfortable?
It's so nice. Normally I feel like I have to yell at them so that you guys can hear, and it's quite nice.
The silence is deafening.
It is.
We need to explore some white noise.
Yeah, so as a final direction, I would just reiterate that if you, as a resident or business owner, have a chance to look at the draft document, if you have any comments, anything that you want more clarification on, either I or any of the members of staff would be happy to talk more about it. And we look forward to having more discussion on the 23rd.
Lori, is that direction that you just described available to the citizenry at large?
Absolutely.
Not just the folks here?
You get bonus points for showing up, but yes.
Bonus points. Okay. Anything else on that topic? We're down to reports of the city manager.
I know we had a lot of words of thank you and congratulations at the ribbon cutting, but I wanted to make sure that on the behalf of staff, I thank the mayor, the city council, and the residents for the beautiful facility that we're in. The staff has been occupying this building since the week of January 18th, and we're very happy to be here. It's been really fun to show it off to people that stop by, to see people just sort of wander in and look around and really be impressed with how tasteful the facility is, how appropriate it is. We've got some room to grow. We've got a place to present a professional front. And I just want to make sure that we all thank you. We really enjoy working here. We're looking forward to sharing this facility with the community.
Well said. I think we all share the same feeling. Anything else?
Nothing else.
I've got one report that I'd like to direct your attention to, something that was put in your packet yet tonight. It's called the Met Council Accountability Act. This year, for the first time, I've noticed that there's I'm not sure how, I was going to say a groundswell, there's at least a ripple of action that's designed to make the Met Council somewhat more responsive to the citizenry. As far as I'm aware, Representative Jim Nash, former mayor of Waconia, is a subcommittee chair and is in large measure leading an effort with a counterpart in the Senate. And I direct your attention to that first page where in bold print it says the Met Council Accountability Act will. It really will, it's designed to do three things. It's to reform the Met Council appointment process by requiring a majority of city councils in a Met Council district to approve the governor's appointment before it is allowed to proceed to the Senate, to confirmation by the Senate. Up to now, there's a nomination made, it goes to the Senate, and it's, forgive me, but it's rubber stamped. This would require the Met Council to make a presentation to the council. We'd get to vote, yea or nay. Failing to get our vote, that's why they have to get any successful candidate to go to the Senate would need 50% plus one vote in favor. Failing to achieve that, the governor would have to come up with another, the nominating committee would have to come up with another recommendation. So we'd at least have a voice in who gets to represent us. Similarly, the second piece, the second bullet talks about the Met Council, any members could be removed with a similar vote from the councils in the district. And then the third one is to require the legislature to approve the budget for the Met Council each year. Under the current law, the Met Council budget is adopted by the council with no legislative oversight. And how many of us are in favor of that? I mean, that's, so again, kudos to Jim Nash. 2 weeks ago, there was a press conference in St. Paul. He dragged me down there and another 4 or 5 other mayors to kind of stand behind and show visual support. And I assured him we would do anything possible to support him in that effort. This is the first step. I've included the language of the relevant language from both the Senate version and the House version for your reference. And we'll keep you posted. Jim, I don't know how many of you have met Jim Nash, but when he's focused, he's really focused. So this has an opportunity to, maybe we can get somewhere. Being realistic, you know, it's got to get through the Senate too, but there is a Senate sponsor, so maybe we should be, I mean, I want to be positive about this. This is the first attempt to my knowledge, serious attempt that's getting some traction, and we ought to support it as best we can, so. Question, comments?
Are we gonna support this with a formal resolution of some sort?
Not yet. Yeah, they want to go through some hearings yet. In fact, we invited Representative Nash here. He's going to come to a meeting first and make the presentation himself. But I wanted to at least alert you that this initiative is underway and getting a lot of attention. Anybody else have it? Anything like, no. I almost hate to do this. Got to close the meeting. Somebody want to make a motion to close the meeting?
I move we close the first meeting in our new city hall.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
It's so fascinating to be able to hear.
I know. I kept waiting.
Well, and I felt like I didn't even want to like breathe for fear that I couldn't hear it.
Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Somebody's phone